Okay, so you've probably used AI tools like ChatGPT, maybe Claude. They're everywhere now, part of our tech world.
Definitely hard to miss them.
But here's the thing. Let's just cut to the chase. How do you really get the good stuff out of them?
Yeah.
How do you go past just asking simple questions and get results that are actually, well, valuable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? These AIs, they're incredibly powerful, no doubt. But like any tool, really, how well it works, that depends a lot on how you use it, your skill.
Exactly. And that skill, the one we're digging into today, it's called prompting. It's basically learning to talk effectively to the AI.
Right, communication.
Yeah, and we've got some really interesting material here, insights from an AI prompting workshop. It's from promptingworkshop.com, run by a team, they call themselves. Let me get this right. Talent ITers.
Ah, the Dutch phrase. So, linguistically inclined IT folks, people who get both language and tech.
Precisely. Language savvy IT professionals.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So our mission then, for this deep dive, is to really get under the hood of prompting. What is it? How does it work? And crucially, how can you use it to get AI to give you answers that, well, don't just meet your expectations, but maybe blow them away a bit?
Yeah, exactly. Exceed them. And the key point here, this isn't about needing like a PhD in computer science or anything.
No, not at all. It's a skill,
Mhm.
something you can learn. It's about communication.
Okay, so let's unpack that. This core idea. Communication is key. The workshop info really hammers this home. Getting great AI results isn't just for the tech wizards. It really boils down to how clearly you communicate.
And what's really cool is the analogy they use. They compare it to, human interaction.
Oh, so.
Well, they talk about needing to sort of get to know the AI, do a bit of exploring first. They use phrases like sniffing around, even playing together.
Playing together. I like that.
Yeah, and also actively, listening to what the AI gives back and then giving it feedback.
Mm.
It really drives home that prompting isn't just barking orders. It's more of a conversation.
Right, it's interactive. And for you, listening in, thinking about how to get knowledge quickly, efficiently, think of prompting as your direct line, your shortcut to making the AI work for you, getting what you need.
Okay, so let's pin this down. What is a prompt exactly?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it's the information you give the AI, right? The input.
And the source material says mostly right now, that means text. You type words into that box.
Text is the most common, yeah. You type something in.
But here's where it gets, well, really interesting, I think. The quality of that input and how you structure it, it massively changes the output.
Oh, absolutely. The workshop info mix is super clear. It can be the difference between getting something uh, pretty disappointing
Yeah, kind of meh.
or just adequate. And this is what they're really aiming for, getting responses that, what was the phrase? Room shoots over Treffen.
That's the one. Far exceed expectations.
Exactly. Going for that wow factor, making the AI really surprise you in a good way.
Okay, so if it's that powerful, who needs these prompting skills? Is it just for tech teams?
Well, that's another key point from the workshop materials. They say absolutely not. It's relevant for pretty much everyone, all levels, all roles in a company. They specifically mention from development teams to the boardroom.
That makes total sense, doesn't it?
It does.
Because the info sheet also mentions this growing consensus, even between people who love AI and those who are maybe a bit skeptical, that AI is basically going to become a standard tool, like email or spreadsheets, a commodity, they call it.
Standard part of the toolkit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whether you're, I don't know, putting together a big strategy presentation or just trying to make your daily emails faster, knowing how to guide AI effectively, that seems like it's becoming a core professional skill for you.
Absolutely essential. And
Good.
their way of teaching it, it sounds quite practical. They call them workshops, right? Which suggests less listening to lectures and more doing.
Yeah, active participation, hands-on learning. I like that. It implies, you're not just going to sit there.
Right. They mention interactive exercises, practical tips you can actually use straight away, but also mixing in a bit of the why, some theory, some stories to illustrate things.
Which sounds honestly more engaging, less likely to feel like information overload, more like building a real skill.
And they focus specifically on ChatGPT, which makes sense. It's so widely used. Plus, they offer flexibility. You can do it on-site or online.
How long are these sessions?
Typically about 2 hours seems to be the standard, though they do mention a longer option like a half-day deep dive if you do it on-site.
Okay. And the vibe, what kind of learning environment are they going for?
They actually mention this explicitly. They aim for something playful and relaxed.
playful. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think the idea is to make it less intimidating, more about experimenting and learning by doing in a comfortable space, which, let's face it, is often how we really get the hang of new things, right? Not feeling stressed about it.
Totally. Learning through play. Okay, so who are these people? Promptingworkshop.com. We mentioned IntelliGITers.
Right, so they describe themselves as this group, uh, people who really get language. They have an appreciation for it, but also have a solid background in IT.
So word people and tech people rolled into one.
Kind of, yeah. They say they're AI adept, clearly, into the whole AI scene. And that combination is pretty powerful, isn't it? Understanding language helps you grasp how subtle changes in phrasing can affect the AI.
Nuance matters.
Exactly. And the IT background means they understand what the AI can actually do, its strengths, its limits. It's like they speak both human and machine.
That's actually quite reassuring, knowing the advice comes from people who get both sides. And they make another interesting point, too, apparently,
Yeah.
that even with AI getting smarter and smarter, human input isn't becoming less important. They think it's actually becoming more crucial.
So the human element remains key. Communication as the bridge.
Right. The bridge between what we want the AI to do, our intention, and what it's capable of doing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And is there someone specific managing this? A point person?
Yes, the platform, promptingworkshop.com, it's managed by Gurjan Zoomer. He's the main contact if you're interested in booking or just finding out more.
Okay, useful info. Do we have contact details?
We do. They provided his email.
Right.
It's info@promptingworkshop.com. Pretty straightforward.
info@promptingworkshop.com.
Got it.
And also a phone number. +316 113 87133.
Okay, so +316 113 87133. Good. So if this is sparking some ideas for you, the listener, there's a direct way to follow up.
Exactly. A very practical step you can take. Now, they also shared one core tip in the workshop info.
Yeah.
Something fundamental. And it really clicked for me.
What was it?
Context. Context is everything.
Context. Always important.
Think about it like talking to a colleague, right?
Yeah.
If you just say, fix this, it's useless.
Yeah, what needs fixing? How? Why?
Right. But if you say, hey, can you update this report? We need the Q3 and Q4 sales figures added in, and make sure to focus on those underperforming regions we talked about last week.
Okay, now I know what to do. I have the context.
Exactly. And it's the same with AI. That's a really powerful analogy. Goes right back to that human communication point. To get someone or something to understand and act effectively, you have to provide the background, the specifics.
The workshop material even says, quite bluntly, without context, we are blind.
Blind, yeah. And it applies just as much to AI. If you don't give enough context in your prompt, it's just guessing. It doesn't really know your goal, your specific need.
And they stress that learning how to provide that essential context, that's a major goal of their workshop.
So it's not just about the words themselves, but the whole picture you paint around them, the framework.
Precisely, the background info you give it.
Okay. And that really is a key takeaway for you listening. Effective communication, which means thoughtful prompting, giving that necessary context, that's how you unlock what these AI tools can really do.
So for you, if you want to cut through the hype and just get practical, useful results, getting good at prompting, well, it's like getting a superpower for dealing with AI.
It brings it back to your goal, right?
Yeah.
Getting knowledge quickly, but also thoroughly. Mastering prompting isn't about becoming some AI genius overnight.
No.
It's about becoming a better communicator with the AI. And that's a skill that can immediately help you navigate this whole AI landscape much more effectively.
So maybe something to think about is, how do you currently talk to AI? What happens if you start thinking more about those conversations?
Yeah, what kind of richer, more context-filled conversations could you start having? What new potential could you unlock for yourself just by being a bit more deliberate, more comprehensive in how you prompt these incredibly powerful tools?